Hello, this is LordUg. Yes, it is, and welcome to another episode of The First Hour, where we look at games to find out if they're good enough to catch you and make you want to keep them and play them a lot, or whether you want to get rid of them, or never want to touch them, in fact. So, today, as you can see, we're going to be doing the Darkest Dungeon. This is a game I've got very much a love-hate relationship for, so I haven't fully decided what my end score is going to be yet, but I have a few things to say about this game, so let's get into it, and let's get into the game. Now, what I am going to do as I create this game, I'm going to actually leave it running, and I'm going to let you watch the intro sequence, because it is absolutely amazing. So let's call this The First Hour, and let's have a look at it. Sit back, enjoy this. There's some really good voice acting in this.
You will arrive along the old road. It winds with a troubling serpent-like suggestion through the corrupted countryside, leading only, I fear, to ever more tenebrous places. There is a sickness in the ancient pitted cobbles of the old road, and on its writhing path you will face viciousness, violence, and perhaps other damnably transcendent terrors. So steel yourself, and remember there can be no bravery without madness. The old road will take you to hell, but in that gaping abyss, we will find our redemption.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the incredibly talented Wayne June, with a voice that most guys would love to have. It's an amazing voice, that is. So, yeah, that's Wayne June, and he does the narrator throughout all of this, which you'll probably hear from time to time in the background as I talk. Okay, so let's get started with the pros and cons, and we'll see if this is a game that you should catch or definitely leave alone. So, here we go. Okay, let's get started with this. The first thing I want to say is, I want to point out that in this game, this is our tutorial. The tutorial is done. It's not an exact tutorial, it's more these pop-up boxes here that will tell you how to do certain things. And these will come up from time to time, just explaining certain things, but the problem is it doesn't always explain everything. So even in this, it's I've got a bit of a love-hate even for this, but this is how they kind of manage it. There is a journal at some point later that you can utilise. Now, it did say about opening the map, but it didn't tell you exactly how. It just kind of said on the map screen. Well, this is the map screen here, where these two squares are. But it was on the icon screen, the item screen, which kind of throws you a bit if you don't know where the map screen is. That's why I say it doesn't always explain it properly. So, not sure yet whether I'm going to add that as a pro or a con, because it does explain everything, but sometimes it can leave questions. Anyway, excuse me, let's get into the pros first. Well, to start with, it's not an overused kind of game design. Now, I tend to play a lot of unique games. It's the kind of thing I go for, and so a lot of them tend to be, I'm not going to say totally original, but tend to be very, kind of really good in their concept or in the genre they follow. So I would say that this one, the first pro would be that it is not an overused kind of game design. It's a kind of original kind of game design, which again, it attracts me. I will explain quickly. It's a role-playing game where you manage a roster of heroes like these two here, and you adventure through these dungeons that you have to look through, and you kill creatures that are in there. Before you go in the dungeon, you can recruit more heroes in this village. We're going to see later, and to heal your men, and you can spend money and that you get going through dungeons and loot and that to upgrade your people. And of course, if a character dies, one of your characters, then they are lost for good. So anyway, that's kind of, and the maps, by the way, are procedurally generated, so they're not always the same. It's random combats in different rooms will always change around, and the maps will always differ. Not to start with, these maps are always the same, but they will differ as you go through the game later. So, not an overused concept is the first of my pros. The second one I like is the roster is quite diverse, which I think is always a good thing on these kind of games. And they've brought in in DLCs, they've brought in even more characters you can play. But, and I think that helps a lot because it gives you a lot of synergy you can work on. Because they do have their own styles, definitely. Here, for example, you've got kind of your rogue type at the back. He's got his 2 daggers, and he's got kind of things that are more stealth based and that. The guy at the front is like a knight. He's more just slap you with my sword and give you a good pounding and that kind of thing. So, but of course, you've got all sorts of different characters, including things like healers, plague doctors that can poison and stun. You've got a couple of healer types, and you've got a few good strong melee types, which are kind of the warrior types. You've got like a guy who has a dog, even that helps him. You've got archers and all this kind of thing. You've basically got a lot of choice, and you can synergize a lot with them. So I think another pro would be a very good roster of characters that you can use. You will see this in a minute when we go to the town. You'll see how that kind of works. Okay, so the next pro would be one I've just mentioned. Because there is a good sized roster, you have plenty of party synergy that you can do. You don't always have to have, these 4 work together, and these 4 work together, and these 4. No, you can literally get any together. Sometimes you could even go through a dungeon without a healer if you've got 4 really of the right synergizing party members together. Some do work better with others. There are some kind of characters that will work better with other characters than certain ones, but on the whole, you can just about synergize. You can just about bring together any 4, and you still stand a chance of going through a dungeon with them. So it is actually really a good thing that there is no kind of wrong way. It's how you build everything up, and if you bring them all together in the right way, they'll work. So I would say a good chance, a really good chance of party synergy would be a definite pro for that one. Also, another pro you have in this game is you get a lot of items. Items are things, your loot that you get in the game as you're fighting through. You will open chests and open like backpacks and cabinets and all sorts of different things that you've got. And you have these items that you can use on these, like a chest. You can take keys in to open the chest up without risking a trap going off and hurting you. So, here's a look at the, if you press H, this comes up. If you're in whatever screen you're on, if you press H, you get a list of things that you can do that you can do in that area. This is the party screen with your negatives and positive traits and things. These are your attacks and everything. These are different. As you can see, it lists them for you. It tells you all the different places and what they do that are in here now. The stagecoach, the tavern, and all those. And in the bottom corner here is a journal. And in this journal is probably where is the glossary, where it kind of gives a brief explanation of every kind of word and phrase that you're going to face throughout the game. As I said, not sure if that's a good or a bad thing, because some people don't like to read. Especially this day and age, some people have never even read a book. So I don't. Some kind of will look at that and think TLDR, you know. So here we are. You can see here in the stagecoach. You can see pictures of some of the characters you can get, and this is how you do it. Then what you do is, so here, yeah, we have a plague doctor and we have a healer. So all you do is you take you take them and drag them over into the roster at the side, and they've added in now. So we have 4 now, and we can go in with them 4. Now, as I say, let me get back into it. So one of the next pros I would say is you get a lot of items. Yes, you loot a lot of things, so you get a lot of items, and some items are for sale. They just get you money. Other items will actually be things you can take into the next battle with you to help you out. Like it might make your poison for the plague doctor, the blight it's called, it might make your blight stronger. Or it might make you more, it might put your kind of resistance up against blight more, or against bleed or something like that. You can take these things in, and they can give you extra bit of help in a dungeon. These items, you can equip all your people, all your men with it and everything. So it's really good, and there's a lot to choose from. So you can take people many different ways, and it'll work.
We can use this.
So a lot of items is a good thing. In the next one, I would say, is that everything in the village can be upgraded. So you're never stuck with like, oh, I've got loads of money, I don't know what to do with it. I've got loads of these items here that you use to unlock things, as this shield and these papers and that. You never get to really to the point where you're like, well, I just don't know what to do with them. There's always something to upgrade and make better. Like some will let you have more, or heal more men. Some will let you have more people in the stagecoach, so you can have a bigger roster and things like that. And you do that by upgrading them, by spending the things at the bottom there that you've just seen, the shield, the papers, and the picture frame and things like that. And I do like the fact that you can upgrade everything, and it works well. Of course, with the DLCs, which I have got, but I'm turned off right now, you can upgrade even more stuff. So there's always lots to do on this game. I'm going to really bring in one more pro, and then leave it at that for the pros. There's a lot to the pros, and that is, this game tends to keep the pressure on. And if you like that, if you like a game that brings tension and keeps the pressure on, you'll love this game, because it never gives up, it never stops, it's always hitting you. And of course, if you lose a character, they're gone for good, they're lost for good, they're dead, they don't come back. And that's another thing as well, because some of your characters will become your favourite. You'll find that they're really strong, they kill easy, and you start to really love them. You might even rename them and things like that, so they become a bit more personal. The next minute you have a bad run, and it can happen any time if the RNG's against you, and boom, you're dead. You lose them, and it's a gut punch. It's a gut punch like you won't believe. But some people love that kind of thing, like that play games like Dark Souls and things like that. Where they're really hard to do, and some people love those kind of games. And if you like those kind of games, and you like this kind of art style and the way this game works, then you will love this game. So that's kind of last of my pros, but I'm going to do one more in. I'm just going to give praise to Wayne June, who is an absolutely wonderful voice actor, who does a great narrator on this. Probably one of the best I've ever heard in a video game. I could not praise this guy well enough. And I think he's got a YouTube channel. You'll find that link in description. I'll put his social media in there, because he is absolutely top-notch, top drawer. Honestly, I could rave about Wayne June all day, because I've played through this game and I've heard his voice. His voice has been with me over and over again throughout this game, and he makes it a great narrator. So that will be the end for the pros. There's probably more, but like I said, you'll find them yourself as you play. This is kind of covering the first hour, so that's the last of the pros. Let's move on to the cons. Okay, so the first of the cons would be the RNG. The RNG is devastating on this game. You will get stupid things turned against you, like you'll get 95% chance of hitting, and you'll miss. and then you'll try again with the next round, and you'll miss again, and you'll miss about 4 or 5 times in a row with a 95% chance of hitting. It does this kind of thing. It will fume you. You will lose your temper. You'll get angry at this game because sometimes you'll lose to stupid things, like your whole party will get wiped over like a couple of RNG things that went against you, and you lose your whole party. Sometimes, in a lot of games, RNG going against you doesn't really matter because you can kind of recuperate from it or do damage limitation. With this, you can lose your party from just a couple of bad RNG, and it's just... It's so bad. It's so bad at times that if you don't like that kind of thing, or you don't like being the kind of person who gets angry about things, then that can be very, very bad. The next con would be that after a couple of a wipe or a couple of bad wipes, basically you can just fall apart. Your game can just fall apart. You can go down to, you can just have nothing. Like you might put your best items on your characters. You might decide you're going into a difficultish dungeon, so you throw in your best characters, your 4 best ones, and RNG goes against you, and you get wiped, and you lose it all, everything, all gone, men dead. And then, so of course you then try. You now haven't got a party that's as strong as them, so you're going in with a slightly weaker party, and they get wiped too. And before you know it, your whole game's fell apart. So that's the second one. After a wipe or two, your games can be done and just fall apart, which can be very, very annoying. Also, I think the next one would be, it can be a bit of a learning curve. I think, again, if you don't like doing a lot of reading, and this is done with boxes coming up and and giving you kind of clues to what you're to do, and you've got a journal you can read and that. But if you don't like that kind of thing, you've got nothing really else where a tutorial, so that can be a little bit annoying as well. And I personally didn't mind, but I picked a lot of it up by just playing repetitive again and again, because the tutorial things, all that writing doesn't necessarily cover everything you might wonder. Like, you might have a question and it doesn't tell you exactly, because it's very basic how it says. It's like, oh, do this to attack. But you might be like, yeah, but what if I want to do this? Can I do it? And it won't really cover it, and that can be a very strong problem. So it can be a bit of a learning curve, especially if you've got all the DLC in as well. And the last one for me that I don't like is you get punished even when you win on this game. Again, it's just that kind of Dark Souls mentality of trying to make everything it can as unfair as possible. And of course, it's done on purpose, like it is with Dark Souls. This is meant to be that kind of game that gets you angry, gets you stressed, that is unfair. So you've got to, in a way, be able to accept that, or you're going to be in trouble. But it's like when you finish this, like when you finish this dungeon and you leave, you'll get like these rewards you can click on, and they'll give you these traits. And even though you've just completed the dungeon, you've come out with all your men, you might have come out pretty healthy and not that bad, you'll still pick up some bad traits and as well as good traits. And that can be annoying, because sometimes the bad traits are really bad. Like, because it's random what they get. So you might have a favourite character that you really, really like, and you've kind of built him up, got him good stats, got him good armour and all this, you put a lot into him, and then he goes through a dungeon and he gets a really bad trait. I don't know, there's so many bad traits, but he might get a really bad trait that makes it so that he loses a lot of power at certain times, or things like that, and it makes it so then it makes him pointless a little bit, like he'll be weakened in a bad way. And or he'll be afraid to go in a certain dungeon or whatever, and that can be really annoying, because these bad traits, it's like if you earn them because you do something wrong in a level, or you actually lose a fight, or you lose and you have to run away or things like that, then hit him with a bad trait. But when you've completed a dungeon, you're coming out with all the loot, or your men are intact and all that, to then get bad
Confidence
traits on,
surges
you know,
as the
and
enemy
it's like being
crumbles.
punished for doing well. Which I suppose in a way the game is wanting to do that, but you get punished for doing bad too. So it's kind of no matter what, you're just going to get punished, and that can be annoying. You know, as I said, I've had characters before where I've built them up, they've been really strong, and then they've had a buff come along, a debuff come along that's nerfed them a trait that's nerfed them down and made them almost useless, and then you have to mess about getting them into the like the tavern or the church place where you can then get rid of stress and things like that. Oh no, it's not that. It's the sanitarium or whatever it is. You know, for mental things, you can get rid of your traits in there, and it's like, you'll put somebody in, get rid of a trait that's really bad, and then next minute they go through a dungeon and get another trait that's really bad, and it could cost quite a lot of money. And when you're trying to upgrade everything else, you haven't really got the money to take it off. So then you'll find that you're not using this character anymore, even though it's one at best you've got, but you just don't use him. So yeah, that can be really annoying. At times you don't even have to lose a character. It's just the RNG traits at the end can just screw you over, and that can be a bit of a killer in itself and very annoying. So that's another one. So that's it. That is all the pros and cons for Darkest Dungeon. As I said, there will be more pros, there will be more cons. The longer you play, you'll pick up more pros and cons in your mind of what you like and don't like. But this is for the first hour, and for the first hour, as I said, these are some of the ones that stand out. There are more even in the first hour, but trust me, these are the ones that will stand out and kind of make you go a little bit crazy. Now, I had to think of a mark out of 10 for this, and this was a bit of a problem because, like I said, there are things in this game I love, but there's also things I truly dislike. I definitely don't like playing it if I'm in a bit of a stress mood, because this only makes it worse. So if I'm calm, relaxed and happy, I don't mind. I might have a go at it and enjoy it. But if I'm a little bit stressed, trust me, I stay away from it. So I've got to do a score that kind of relates to both. I don't want to say, oh, if you like it, you'll give it this, and if you don't, you'll give it this. That seems a bit of a cop out. You'll make your own mark out of 10 up. So I'm going to just do one for me, and I'm going to give it a solid 7. So it's not. So it's like closer to 8 than it is to 6, but it is a 7 because I just think that the RNG at times can be really annoying, and sometimes the wipes you get or losing your strongest characters can really set you back. And sometimes you've been building for a while and then you find yourself knocked back and you've got to almost start rebuilding again, and it can get really annoying. So yeah, I would say that that's about it. I would say I'll give it a 7, and yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. So anyway, thanks for watching. I would say get this game if you don't mind stress, anger, and losing your mind a little bit. If you don't mind any of that and you do like this kind of game, then this is a brilliant game for you, and I would get it. But yeah, otherwise just maybe rent it. If you've got a way of renting games, maybe rent the game. If you haven't, then stay away from it because it'll just make you go crazy. So there you go. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. You take really good care.
Seize this momentum.
And goodbye for now.